Yeah, come by. Lawrence, let me just tell you what's happening. After the flashbang started, after we first saw the appearance of the police, after the protesters had breached the police station, the police moved to that corner right in front of us and were firing back into the crowd. The crowd moved back. Now the crowd is moving back in toward the police. They're actually, in many cases, going in with their hands up like this, walking toward the police. We are now sort of behind the crowd. They are between us and the 3rd precinct. You can see just beyond the crowd, there's a red light there. That's the corner of the building, and you can see there's volleys now of debris that people are shooting, and then flashbangs. Now it looks like we may have gas canisters now. The police are deploying something. Not quite clear what they are, but we're seeing a lot of debris. There's things getting thrown. We're going to pull back a little bit from here, but it is now, all right, there's milk being spread around, so that is tear gas. I'm just going to stick this on. Give me a minute. I think it's pretty windy and it's all blowing that way, so I think we're clear for now, but they have now deployed tear gas. That had not happened at all today, Lawrence. It's been actually very peaceful today. There have been speeches. There have been people out here protesting, saying things like no justice, no peace. This just happened within the last 15 minutes. The protesters, somebody got over the fence. There was a fence that had been installed since yesterday. Somebody got over it, got to the other side, and encouraged the crowd to push those fences down, which they did. Then somebody got into the police station, and that's when the police emerged on the roof. They have now moved to ground level, and this is the worrisome part. They were on the roof moving into the crowd. The fence has been breached, and protesters are now getting closer and closer to the 3rd precinct. Now, as Lawrence, you know, the 3rd precinct here is where the 4 police officers were who were involved in the death of George Floyd on Monday. So this has been the center of attention at this point. Now, what we don't have is any police cars. We do not have National Guard vehicles here. We do have heavy smoke in that direction. Let's just take a look, Miguel. We've got a fire over there, fairly big fire, quite dense. Last night, this was all burning. This was the auto zone. There's a target behind me. There's a car on fire in the parking lot behind my photographer. But most of the attention is right here on the police station. We seem to have a lull in it right now, Lawrence, but it has been calm all day. I have to say, this was not what we were seeing all day. It was peaceful protest, and it has suddenly changed. Now, there are a lot of protesters here along the side behind my photographer who are not involved in what's going on over here, but you can see the hands up there if you look over there. A lot of people with their hands up moving toward the police. They are closing in. You can see this crowd moving. There's probably now 25 or 30 feet between the police and the protesters, and there is no barrier between them. So the one thing the Minneapolis police have not done today is gotten into direct conflict with protesters. That, I think, in the next few minutes is about to change. A lot of people with their Now, I don't know that it was organized, and I don't know that it was chaotic. I would say that until 20 minutes ago, it was an assembly of people with various beefs about what was going on. And one of them has been that the Hennepin County attorney has said that there's some evidence that this may not have been criminal, and people are sort of 20 minutes ago was completely filled. Now you've seen people retreat, obviously, because we got tear gas coming out of there. We've got flashbangs. There is still a group of people you can see directly in front of me. They are as close as they can get to the police. The tear gas has had the effect of pushing people back because it is doing that, but it's a windy night, which means it's not effective to use tear gas when there's this much wind. It's going to blow all over the place, and that's kind of happening. So the police have not used it until now. They've basically used the flashbangs. You can see behind me. Now keep in mind, there's the police precinct. Those are the active protesters. Then there's a group behind us that are staying far back from the danger and the protest. And it does appear that the tear gas seems to have dissipated, and for the moment the police guards have bought themselves a little bit of time, but there are more flashbangs. There are now helicopters in the sky around us. There's definitely a lot more attention and energy here than there was half an hour ago.
Don't shoot! Hands up! 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 Don't shoot!
They're on the roof again.
Don't shoot! Hands up! 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 Don't shoot!
I got it. You want a helmet? You want a...
Tear gas is a fucking chemical weapon! Should be illegal!
Shit.
Shit. Fuck. It's bad.
Right here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. You good? You good? We got milk. You good?
People here are
stop killing people. You're part of the problem.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
My point is that there are people here who are really, really angry about the systemic issues that they're talking about. A gentleman, while you were having the conversation with Benjamin Crump, said to me, "Why aren't we talking about lynching? Why aren't we talking to people about
stop killing people? You're part of the problem."
So there are some people out here who are sort of just pushing into the police station, but there are a lot of people here with very serious grievances that they say are not being addressed. And it's hard to make out with the thousands of people out here who's who. But there are protesters.
Your viewers to urge cops to stop killing people.
And that's the kind of heat, Lawrence, that you're seeing out here tonight. That's what's going on. There are people here who are very, very angry about the police, and the police seem to have taken the message that they're not on the streets here right now. So we do not see the National Guard presence anywhere around here. Sir, get your phone, turn on NBC, and listen to the conversation we're having, okay? Then come and tell me what you don't like about it. That's the kind of stuff that's going on around here. We still have that fire burning. We've still got protesters now heating up and heading back toward the police station. And we're going to try and keep a safe distance between the two to cover what's going on, Lawrence.
You're doing that. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we will. Let me tell you what's happened. We are now right in front of the 3rd precinct. This is the 3rd precinct. The perimeter fence has come down. We saw earlier protesters gotten in. Now they've made their way through onto that side. Now the fire we were looking at was about a block and a half over there. The protesters are continuing to try and get into the police station. Now this is where the tension has arisen between the police and the protesters, because as the protesters have made their way to the police station, the police have responded with flashbangs and with tear gas. And this is now what you're seeing. They're right up against the police station. They've actually made their way in there, Brian, and that's what you're seeing right now. Now, what we didn't know earlier today was who was in the police station. Then we saw several police, first on the roof and then on the corner, shooting back. What we now know is that there are police in there and they're on the roof. So at this moment, we're waiting cautiously to see what's going on. Now, context, Brian, for most of the day, this has been remarkably peaceful. It got very aggressive about 2 hours ago, and it has continued, and that's what we're looking at right now. So what you've got is protesters still surrounding the police station. Tear gas is being thrown out every now and then. The protesters push back, they then come back, and now we're back in that cycle. But you can now see they're breaking all the glass windows to the police station. Most of them have been boarded up. On the second levels, they haven't been, and you can see that they're trying to get into the police station. That seems to be the objective tonight, to breach the police station and sort of claim some sort of control over it, and that is what you're looking at right now. We'll continue to follow this closely as it develops, Brian.
You should probably go over there if you want to get something on the
we need letters. We need letters.
No, you should go over there.
Letters for people to send money to the families.
We're big fucking tough guys, big media guys, man. Get the fuck out of here.
What's the problem? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Fuck you.
What are you doing? Why? What do I do to you?
What are you guys doing here, huh?
I'm reporting the news. Should I not report? Should we not report the news?
Filming, huh?
No, hold on. Can I ask you? Are you just going to talk, or are you going to listen? What are you doing? Hang on, I got it. No, I don't understand what this guy's problem is. Yep, we're good.
Let's get over here.
It's under control. We got everything under control here. Yeah. I'll let you know when something's happening.
We should go over by the entrance.
Yeah.
If we got to retreat, we can run that way.
Oh, there's a fight right there.
We're at the intersection of Lake and Snelling. Our old position yesterday is looking through a gate this way. Let's see what that looks like.
Yep, let's do it. Okay. Over there, maybe Miguel can get a shot of this. The other side of the building, there's a fire there as well. Then there's a fire at the liquor store down there, and there's another fire behind us over there. So we have several fires going on. We still have no meaningful police presence here. We do know that there are 5 or 6 police officers in there. They've been the ones with the flashbangs. You can still hear them from time to time. I've not seen tear gas in the last little while, but there are real efforts to get into that police station over there, and we now do appear to have fires on both sides of it right now. We're also hearing some reports about other fires going on in the city. So this is, and I see helicopters above us, so there might be a better shot of this than I've got. But right now, the protesters are very, very focused on this police station. We're hearing a lot of noise. It's obviously gone dark, so other than the flames, we can't see as much. But there are efforts to get into that building, and again, we do not know what the status is of the police officers who are in there. The relevance of this building is that this is where the 4 police officers who were fired in connection with the death of George Floyd were based. So this, a few years ago, there were protests at the 4th precinct. There were encampments outside of there. Now it's the 3rd precinct. This is now where all of the attention is tonight. Brian? Large parking lot. It's right on the corner. So the crowd was in the thousands at various times. Very hard to tell at this point, but you do make a very important point. The crowd's diverse. And I've had a lot of people come up to me, and they've got real complaints about systemic prejudice. Some of it is about specifically what's happened. Some of it is protesting the police, but a lot of it is systemic stuff that they're saying, look, Minnesota's experienced a lot of it. America's experiencing a lot of it. We've got videos. We now have videos from 3 angles. What's the Hennepin County attorney worrying about? What are they doing? And there's just a lot of anger out there tonight. Obviously, this will be the center of it because this was something that was geared around 4 police officers and George Floyd. So this is the center of it. But the conversation here is diverse, and it is about social justice issues broadly and remembering George Floyd. Every few minutes you'll hear Black Lives Matter, you'll hear say his name, and you'll hear protest, but this is a protest. It's not something else. There's a protest because people are very angry about what they've seen this week, not just here but across America, Brian. Yeah. That was important. Yeah.
Come on. Get out of here.
And the satisfaction that folks here want, they've been getting from a lot of quarters, by the way. There are a lot of people across Minnesota, a lot of police chiefs, a lot of public officials who are saying, look, I saw the same video you saw. It seems obvious to me that there was wrongdoing. So they're taking some solace in that. But the other problem that's right below the surface here, and it's not, we're not in and amongst it right now, Brian, but the National Guard is here. And this is something that has got this crowd very, very concerned. There's concern about the militarization of the police, and there's concern about the National Guard Guard being here. The mayor told Rachel earlier it was a tough decision. They really want to maintain order, but this crowd is very worried about a big militarized police presence. Now, a few moments ago, we saw the biggest police presence, or biggest presence of some sort of sirens. It's dark, so I can't tell whose they are, going by here, but they've not come into this area, and that's interesting because there are fires burning and there are lots of crowds, but there does seem to be an effort to not get into a direct confrontation with the protesters tonight. But these protesters are very, very frustrated with the idea that there's lots of policing in and around the area, but they're not getting what they believe the justice is that they're looking for, Brian. Yeah. And we've got something, I just heard something happen behind me. The fire in the parking lot seems to have spread closer now to the building, and more fencing has come down. People are going into the police station. The reason this is so important, all right, what are we looking at? We got a fire over on that side and on this side. The reason this is so important, Brian, is that we do know that there's still a police presence in there. So at some juncture, if the crowd doesn't back off enough and the police are not succeeding with their tear gas, which is aggravating the crowd, it's doing nothing. Every canister of tear gas that lands doesn't make everybody more peaceful about the whole operation. There's some concern about what the police are going to do to ensure that they don't lose their police precinct tonight, this symbolic place. So this continues to be a very hot spot. And again, we're continuing to look around us to see what the police presence is. And there seems to be a strategic decision that while the National Guard is here in Minneapolis, they are not here on this scene, which is the focus of most of the protests tonight.
Good Lord, these things work really well. I couldn't smell any of that.
Yes. Yep.
I'm going to find out. Hold on.
That 6-story building is now a 1-story building, and it's just a gutted shell. It's just a block up from the auto zone. The auto zone is completely destroyed. The fire that you saw about an hour ago that Morgan Chesky was at, they weren't able to get their engines in there. There was a small presence, but they weren't actually able to fight the fire until the protesters left, and by that time the building had mostly been gutted. So that is a major concern. And again, I'm just going to point behind me there. Miguel's going to focus on, there's a fire on the other side. Now, we can't get there, and I don't know what's burning, but it appears to be adjacent to the police station, if not the police station. It might be across the road. I can't get a good sense of it from where I am, and this is a very dynamic crowd, so we're cautious about the way we move through it to not antagonize anyone. But it does appear that the protesters are looking to squeeze the police out of this building and take control of it, because they've got fires on both sides of the 3rd precinct. Now, the 3rd side of it, by the way, there's 2 sides exposed. This side is the parking lot. That's already been breached. The 4th side is an alley, and beside the alley is a fire station. The fire station has been closed. The fire station is completely boarded up. So the fires in this area are not even being responded to by the fire department in this area. They've just closed that up, and these buildings are now the focus of attention. Yeah, so we can't tell because we couldn't identify which police officers are which, or were the same group. But first they appeared on the roof with those weapons in which they were firing the tear gas canisters. Then they appeared right here next to me on the ground level. And that was surprising to us because with thousands of people here in this antagonistic situation, we were surprised at the police. So here it is. There's the fire. It does appear that that fire is the police station. You can see this now. Now that fire appears appears to be the liquor store across the road from the police station, but you now see smoke billowing out of the police station. Miguel, let's see if we can just get on that angle. It looks like the police station is now has caught fire. Brian, it's a brick building. It's got two parts to it. The part we were standing in front of was the older part of the precinct. There's a modern sort of an addition to it over here, and there are flames coming out of it. The 3rd Precinct Minneapolis Police Station is now on fire, Brian.
There's high ground up here. There's high ground behind you about 50 feet.
We got gas. Okay, masks on, guys. Masks on. We got gas. Brian, hang on a second while I just stick the mask on. All right. All right, there we go. All right, so yeah, here's the problem, Brian. I don't know how well you can still hear me, but when the police boarded up the entrance, they covered it up with plywood. The windows got covered up with plywood yesterday as they put up barriers. When the barriers were breached, they then had the ability to light the plywood on fire, which is apparently where it started. They can use any accelerant they've got and set that on fire, and that is apparently what started that burning over here. So now you have a liquor store over there fully engulfed, and you have the police station here fully engulfed. The building right behind it, which you can't see, is the fire station, which will obviously be in danger if the police station goes up. And again, to your very important point, Brian, there is no ability to bring in, I'm going to take off the mask, there's no ability to bring in the fire brigade. There's no way they're going to clear the streets and bring fire engines in here at this point. So what we are dealing with is a situation where there's a fully involved fire on both sides of the street and no ability to put it out. So this, and you can see the protesters are completely lined up in front of it. I think you can probably see that image. They are there celebrating symbolically that they have taken control of the police station. Now, here's the question we don't have an answer to, Brian. We know there are, or were, to my count, I think at least 5 police officers that I could see. They might have been the same ones on the roof as were in the back. We don't know where those police officers are, but the front entrance, the main entrance to the police station is now in flames. There's no sign of police, and there's more debris going on. There's firecrackers being put off by the protesters in all directions. They've lit firecrackers in the parking lot. You can see that. There's a police presence on top of the building. Miguel, you see that? There is somebody on top of the building, and we are hearing flashbangs. We're seeing smoke. Don't know if it's tear gas. And those are firecrackers that you're seeing being pulled off by the protesters, Brian. There's no way. I can't see it, Brian. There's no way. These streets are completely clogged in all directions. The earlier fire was only 1 block over there, and they couldn't get there. It wasn't even in the center of things. There's without a very heavy presence guard, there's no chance. There are thousands of people on the street. I get your point that to let a police station burn is symbolically an important matter for them to consider, but there's no chance of fire trucks getting in here at this point without a very heavy intervention by the authorities or by the National Guard. And I have to tell you, I just keep on emphasizing that they're not here. We're not seeing that presence. We know the National Guard's in town. I saw heavily armed vehicles on my way here earlier, but there are no police vehicles. There are no armored carriers. There's no National Guard in the vicinity, but there are a lot of firecrackers.
see it better.
Yeah. Officers who were involved in the death of George Floyd. This is the symbol, their silhouettes with the fire behind them. But there's a public safety issue here too. There are lots and lots of people here. There is no way of getting a fire department in here. And this is an area where buildings are closely spaced next to each other. So there's a real fear that this fire over here across the road, Miguel, if you can just look at it, at the liquor store, it now appears to be spreading. You're hearing them chant, George Floyd, George Floyd. They're saying, what's his name? George Floyd. What's his name? George Floyd.
What's his name? George Floyd! 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 What's his name? George Floyd!
Let's go deeper.
What's his name? George Floyd! 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 What's his name?
Now, Brian, I will tell you that there's not a sense of organization to this. This crowd had actually thinned out earlier when a crowd made a push toward the police station. There were barricades all around it that had been installed in the last 24 hours. They pushed the barricades down, and it reignited the crowd, and then the police came out and fired upon them. So the fact is, this has now given this crowd more fuel. The crowd has become much, much thicker than it was in the last hour, and at some point, I make the point that there seems to be a spontaneity to it, which is a bit worrisome, because there are now thousands of people in this tight area in which there are fires burning in a few places. And every now and then, when you do see the police presence, and at this point, for instance, what we've been seeing for the last 2 hours is gas canisters coming out. If a gas canister were to come out from the police station, it would land within 25 feet of us. That's about the distance that they've got from the police station. That would be chaotic at this point. So at this point, this becomes a bit dangerous. Now, you can see the crowd is quieting down quite a bit right now. So there's a lot of variation. There are people silently in protest with their arms up, but they are watching this moment. At this point, there cannot be more reaction. There cannot be no reaction from the authorities. What these people have been wanting to see is something more. The charges laid against those 4 police officers, they have not seen that. They've been unsatisfied. Now, with the burning of a police station, there were many buildings burnt last night. With the burning of a police station, the dynamic of this whole protest changes, Brian.
All we need is justice. That's it. We need charges. And we need a prosecution.
Yep. No problem.
The shot keeps getting better as we go more left.
Okay.
And it also works us down toward the bigger fire.
Okay.
Trying to bring me to get away from it. There might even be a little higher ground over here. I don't
Is that Allie Belshi?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have.
How you doing?
Your hand.
We'll do an elbow. Nice to meet you.
I'm a huge, huge fan.
Thank you.
Huge.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry we meet under these circumstances.
Yes. Well,
But nice to meet you.
thank you for doing the work you do.
My pleasure.
This is better.
All right. Wow, look at that shot. Maria, were you here all this time?
Yeah, well, I've been here for the last half an hour, and it's just, it was okay, and then they just started that on fire. That was their goal, apparently, was to start the police department on fire.
Wow. What a thing, huh?
I've been here almost on and off all day. It was really peaceful.
I was here. I was here. remain standing in vigil in front of the police station in silhouette. The fire, the flames illuminating them from the back, and you seeing the shadow of them with their arms raised, signifying victory over that police station. We have this liquor store, which the protesters are determined. And by the way, I want to be clear. There are protesters, and there are others here. There are people who are really, really concerned about what the issue is. I don't know. I can't make out who in the crowd is doing this, but they have taken out all the windows of the liquor store. That store is completely engulfed, and we now have searchlights. We got a helicopter with searchlights now focusing on the police building. So we're not sure. That may just be a media helicopter, but that's the situation we have here at the intersection in front of the 3rd Precinct. We will. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
I can describe this.
There we go.
Back up. I don't know what that is, whether it's gas or whether it comes here. Just something's hissing.
Yeah.
Back up 20 feet, okay? I think it's just a steam pipe.
Could be, yeah.
Well, it was water, now it's steam, but
yeah. Yes, he's correct. He's correct. I can give him context if he wants. Yeah. 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 Yes.
Right here. Stay. Bro, I'm ass talking. We can't hear you and it sound like you're talking disrespectful.
No. I know that, but he's over here doing this. He's over here doing this, okay? He's like,
All you motherfuckers, y'all live on the pole too, right?
you already know. Yeah, absolutely. Wait, you can take him out. Exactly.
You could have stepped forward too. I don't need to get you space. Fuck your job. You know why we out here? Fuck your camera, nigga. You're not even from here, motherfucker. You ain't even what you talking about?
Yeah, we got it. Miguel, give him the shot. It's next door to the liquor store. This is the store next to it, but the rafters have collapsed, so it'll spread.
I'm gonna go.
We've certainly seen the crowd start to shift into a more aggressive manner, going inside this building, causing more damage because, at least from what I can see, they feel the freedom to do so because it's unchecked at this point in time. And right now, we're just seeing continued streams of people. We have fireworks going off now above the police precinct, Brian, but the one thing we're looking for is any sort of a police response, or more importantly, any sort of a National Guard response, since the governor signed that proclamation earlier today that gave them permission to help as needed. So the fire is still burning behind me, blocking off this roadway. We have protesters just down the block from me that are continuing to stream, blocking any other sort of help from getting in this area. And meanwhile, just one last look here at the police precinct that has been breached by hundreds of protesters here in this area. 3 days after the death of George Floyd, they are now walking through that building that police guarded so carefully last night, standing on top of the roof, and they're now doing as they wish. Brian?
Minneapolis. Hey, bro. Fuck the feds.
Right now, I'm relying upon the 4 security guards that we were assigned, Brian. I have not seen a police officer for the past 45 minutes to an hour.
automatic gunfire.
Can you hear me? You can come to me. Are they hearing me? Can you hear me? You can come to me, yes.
Editorially, do we want to swing around more on this one for the next? I mean, this is a vape shop.
They sort of, yeah, they.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and so just to give you a sense of positioning, this smoke shop, then there's the liquor shop, then there's the street, and the police station is right across the road. So we're 500 feet from the front of the police station. There are fires burning in different directions around me. There's another fire over there. You can see from the aerial shots. And to your point a moment ago, I have seen lasers in the last few minutes. I don't know what they're doing. Now, you were talking about traffic around here. This street right here is open. There's no police presence, as Morgan said. There's no one stopping anybody. Barricades were put up on certain streets around the area, but it doesn't matter because people just move the barricades. There's no police. There continue to be unconfirmed reports on social media about the National Guard being activated to do certain things tonight in this city. But that would have to be a very big decision. And given what has happened strategically, we see some debris flying around here. Given that we've seen that strategically, that the police have for the last few hours decided to disengage. They had not engaged with this crowd for many hours today. Then when the perimeter of the police station was breached, they came out and fired the gas canisters and the crash bags. They've retreated. I'm sure they're gone from that building, long gone from that building. Don't know how they got out, but they're gone. And this is what's left. So this fire, as you predicted, has gone through the roof. It's now gone through the rafters. It's connected to the buildings next to it. So this block is now essentially on fire, and there's nothing to be done about it. There are no fire department engines. There was one a block and a half away about an hour and a half ago with the fire that was over there. They were not able to accomplish much, as Morgan was able to say. They had to wait till the crowd left before they could do anything, and that building had burned out by that time. So at that point, this is now what's happening. In South Minneapolis, there's an entire block basically on fire, and half of the block next to it. That's after 3 blocks last night, right next to it, have burned, and there is no police presence, there's no National Guard presence, and there are no fire engines here, Brian.
By the way, this is on fire. It's hot. Hot fire.
Right. Correct. Yes. That's right. Yeah, and I think this is an important point. There's a difference between activating the National Guard in the interest of public safety, which has to be done, and National Guard members in full outfit arriving in militarized vehicles here. I think there is a strategic decision on the part of the fire department and the police department and the state that may not be the right thing to do. But that's the hard thing to watch. It's a hard thing to watch, public property burning down and this being uncontrolled. This is exactly what we think order is supposed to be like. But there's no order right now in the streets. There's a lot of movement coming our way. A lot of movement coming our way. Something has happened, and people are running away from the police station. Typically, when you see that kind of running, it indicates gas canisters, but I hear what sounds like a low-flying helicopter. No, that's not it. I don't know what it is, Brian. This happens every now and then. You see the crowd, a bunch of people running away for some reason. Again, it tends to be gas canisters, but there's no police presence. So we haven't had gas. I haven't had to put this mask on in an hour because there are no police around here. Since the beginning of the show, when we first had gas, that was the last police presence we've had in the neighborhood. isn't. There are, it's a typical industrial structure in which there are things above, and I see a satellite dish there, so I don't know whether those are people living in some of these apartments or buildings above the storefronts. There's certainly no lights on anywhere in this area, so anybody who was living here is gone. But there's no residential immediately where we are. This is an almost entirely industrial area. Right in front of me is the auto zone that you saw, factories behind that, a shopping mall across the road, which has already been looted, and a Target store, which was set on fire. You've already seen that. So this area has been vacated. There are no shopkeepers here. Everybody who does business around here has left. I do know there's residential very close to here. Within a couple of blocks, there are houses, but they seem to be focused on the businesses at the moment, and particularly those in periphery to the 3rd precinct. This seems to be the reason for the attention on this particular few block area. It's over there, and the protesters are still standing in front of it. The fire does seem to have died down on the facade in front of the building. As I mentioned to you earlier, most of that is an old brick building. So it may be that the whole thing hasn't caught fire. It doesn't seem to be burning more than it was earlier, but the protesters are still standing in front of that building. And of course, this building is now, this whole block essentially is on fire behind me. We got one burning out to my right. There's one that's been active for now a couple of hours behind me. There's a third one that I can make out about 45 degrees over. So I see 4 active fires from where I am right now, and I know that there are others burning in the city. There are a number of reports on social media. A message has gone out over the airwaves. They cleared the airwaves for the fire department. The chief of the fire department sent out a message of support to all the firefighters, saying how proud he is of them. But it's a difficult time if you are a firefighter, because what you can't do is come in and rile up an already riled up crowd. So this is a real tough one tonight in South Minneapolis. We're seeing it burn, and there does not seem to be a solution at hand, Brian. Yeah. Yeah, very good.
A couple of boxes.
We're just on hold. Let's get out of the street.
I walked it.
I'm showing at 12:30, but obviously they come to us whenever they want.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep coming to us. So.
Minutes, dude.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Yeah.
Get out of the middle of the street.
Yeah, agreed. Okay.
Nothing the crazy that have been standing around.
Yeah, I agree. We need to reposition to shed them a little bit.
Right.
Nice job.
Very nicely done.
You guys are all killing it.
You know what? Security, you guys are rocking, man. We appreciate it. Believe it. Just going hard.
Got it. Coming to us after Morgan.
If this thing goes on for more than 90 minutes, we'll have to go to the car to grab the battery.
Yeah. Well, MS is supposedly going off the air in 58 minutes. 1 o'clock. At 1 a.m. Yeah, I brought one extra set, but I got to bring more tomorrow. Okay. Hey. Next time, if you need me to handle it, Rick, let me know. So, she said they were doing like that. She didn't know where it was. Okay. You know how it got done? Yeah, the guy, somebody worked it. Oh, no, no. Yeah. I didn't know where it was. So he's our old network? No, Kenny RE is who we count on for the stuff. So we don't have a team out on there.
And at that point, we left the rear of the building where we were, and we came back to this intersection where we're standing now. We haven't heard a repeat of that, but right now I'm listening to glass being broken because about 20 yards behind me, if we can just flip the camera around, an Arby's that had been boarded up in hopes of protecting that business is now being broken into as dozens of people kind of swarm that entrance there. And that is really the scene block by block in this part of the city right now, Brian, because now for going on about an hour, I have yet to see any police presence of any kind. I had seen some cruisers in the distance about a half hour ago, expecting them to roll into this area and set up a perimeter, but they have yet to do that. And just a quick look down this street we're standing on right now, you'll see that a flame stretches across the entire width of it. That is how typically police would come into the rear parking lot there of their own station. But right now that fence is up, that fire's burning, and that is making it almost impossible, really, for any sort of response to come to this area. So the tension is certainly rising here, Brian. We have not heard that gunfire come yet again. We do know that about 3 blocks behind me is where that liquor store continues to burn. And at this point in time, we have to fear, is this going to be basically a carbon copy repeat of what we saw last night, where about a 10-block square area was laid waste by hundreds and hundreds of people trying to do, as they would say, send a message, but overshadowing what so many people we spoke to today said they came out for, and that was to pay tribute to the man who died Monday. Brian? All right, let's move.
Sort of the center of activity in front of the police station. The crowd is now moved over there. At this point, that seems to be the center of what's going on. Let me just give you a sense of it. What Morgan said was interesting. For most of the day today, it looked a lot calmer than yesterday looked. And that's what happened yesterday. It picked up later in the evening. The crowds gathered here, and the standoff with the police looked very different last night. Police had lined up. There were no barricades outside the police station. Police had lined up around it and were preventing protesters from getting close. Then they put up, overnight, they put up fences and barricades so that people couldn't get there. And that's what broke through. So it caused a new center of focus for the protesters. The idea that they would then try and take that police station from the police. And again, we were very surprised to find out that there were police actually in that building, but there were about 5 police who came out. They had their weapons with them that fired the gas canisters, and it dispersed the crowd, which then came this way and started this activity and a fire that occurred over there. So again, there are fires, as you mentioned at the top of the show, there are at least 4 fires that I can see, and that's just in this small radius that Morgan and I are in. Obviously, some of them are very active. This one is now, as you can see, very obviously spread to the buildings on either side of it, the liquor store and the shop to the left. But there's no ability, and I just think we have to remember this. The National Guard has been activated. They are not here. The police are not here. The police have been evacuated. The fire engines can't get in here. There's no ability to bring anybody in here to solve this problem. So I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly, but fires have been started, and there's a crowd that is relishing that. There is a deep sense of grievance and complaint here, and that is the thing, that when you discount people who are doing things to public property that they shouldn't be doing, it does have to be understood that this city has got, for the last several years, an issue with police, and it's got a real sense of the deep sense of grievance of inequality. And you mentioned earlier, before we had video, how did we know about these things? Now we have video. We have 3 angles of this thing, and the people who are talking to me, not an investigator, and I don't have access to the information that investigators have, but they are saying, what more do you need? You've got 3 angles of video. Why haven't there been arrests? And the FBI and the Minneapolis Bureau of Apprehensions and the Hennepin County Attorney, all of whom are proceeding very carefully. This crowd is not looking for careful right now. They are looking for something that feels like justice, and they don't seem to be getting it. No. Exactly right. And there have been various protests in various parts of the city, right? So there was one at City Hall that was more organized. There was one at Hennepin County Courthouse where people knelt in protest. Those seem to be the ones where people are trying to get the attention of the politicians. This has a more visceral feel to it. This protest is not about the politicians. This protest is about the police. This protest is about people who feel that police brutality is not something that is dealt with fairly in this country. This is not about politicians. They're not politicians. Even in Baltimore, when we saw riots, or in Ferguson, where we saw that, you saw politicians, generally aldermen, people like that coming to the area. That's not what's happening right now. This several block area that Morgan and I are in right now is out of control. It is not in the control of authority. It is not in the control of the police. It's not in the control of the government, and not the National Guard. So for all those people who are hearing that the National Guard has been activated in Minneapolis and in Minnesota, that is not happening right now. Right now, no government authority, no authority whatsoever has control over this area. The people have control over this area, and this is what's happening right now. There's a lot of venting going on. There are definitely people who have come up to me. They're not happy about the way this is unfolding. They're not happy about the damage to public property. But boy, the anger, I mean, your pictures show it, Brian, but the anger is visceral here. Yeah. Yep. Miguel, they're on the picture. Yep.
Excuse me, sir. Are you with CNN?
MSNBC.
Huh?
MSNBC.
MSE.
Oh, he is, okay. I knew it was one of them. Yeah.
Maybe we should how many not really, but we got 10 guys. We should do it like these guys later, the rest of everybody else by 6. One more 6 or 8 guys. Stop fighting. We gotta do it, right?
Exactly. That's not tear gas. Wow. Get the whole block stoned. Oh.
What channel you guys with? NBC?
What's that?
We on NBC?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Ali Velshi.
Ali Velshi. Okay.
What's your name?
J. Maul Green.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you. Good friends with Carol Eckers. You know Carol Eckers?
Yeah.
I'm an activist out of Chicago.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When'd you come down?
2 days ago. Yeah.
What do you make of it?
Helping lead. It's been, understood, understandable of anger. That's what's important.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is one of those things, right? Somebody was just saying on our air that reasonable people get on their Twitter feed and they see this video and it's like,
right.
Tell me why that's not what I saw.
Exactly.
Maybe there is. Maybe there's something you didn't see, but I don't know.
It don't take that long to charge anybody.
And then we got another video, and then we got a third video. It's like, what's going on? I mean, people are sitting here saying, I'm sure there's some people in here who are not deep in the protest, but some people are, like, is that justice? If that's justice, then what am I signed up for?
Right. So
I get
people angry and
I get
reaction. You can't be mad at them for it.
Yeah, because what's justice look like?
What justice look like?
Right? Why do I have to play by somebody's rules? There's no justice for it.
Period.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I never want to see this, but that's stuff different, man. I mean, I remember I've been a reporter for 30 years almost. People used to tell me these stories don't really happen. People don't shoot people who aren't armed. People don't kill people who aren't doing anything. And then all of a sudden cameras showed up.
Right.
How many have we seen in 1 week?
Right.
That woman in Central Park, Ahmaud Arbery,
Michigan.
I mean, like at some point, and that's just the cameras that are rolling. That's just the ones that people. I don't have that sense. Like I'm too old. I won't think to roll a camera if something bad happens. It's. I get it. I mean, I can feel it.
Yeah. Tensions are going to ignite. Hey, it's insane.
The question is, what changes? What does it change? Does this get anywhere, or do people just let it burn?
We'll see.
Who's
your producers?
They're all back in New York. I'm just.
Which ones? I'm saying, which ones you working with?
I have a show on weekends called Velshi. You guys know me?
Has she heard you? She was talking to you.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
She wanted to make sure you were okay.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you. I'm just doing this for all the shows, all the MSNBC shows. We're live.
Oh, okay.
So they keep taking our shots. So I never know when I'm on TV and when I'm not.
Just been calling me an hour ago. I got to call them back.
Yeah. Good to see you. Nice to meet you.
Just watching you at home. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man. This is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I live 2 miles south of here, so it's like, probably should go check this out, even though it's probably not the safest and the smartest thing to do. But
yeah, although it's not, it's interesting. There have been a lot of situations. It's not menacing. It's weird. It's angry. It's viscerally angry.
Yeah.
But they're not, like, sometimes media's and some people don't like us here. We've had a few people come up and yell at us, but generally speaking, they're not. This is visceral hurt.
Yeah.
Right. It's how can this be?
Right.
We thought if we had video, we thought if we had 3 angles, on something, it would sort itself out. And I think this is. I'm not feeling menace. It doesn't feel like a riot.
Right.
This stuff is not great, but.
Well, you've been around a lot of these, probably, right?
Yeah.
So you have perspective that I don't.
There's always a group of people that take advantage of this kind of stuff, but that's not it. That's okay. What's going on here? But that taking the police station had a symbolic feel to it. I mean, that's just American City in 2020, and the police are not in control. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, got it. Thank you. Miguel.
Just got a crowd running. I don't know why.
Give me a heads up so I can get Miguel to get a shot.
All right, man.
But I can tell you that we decided we wanted to put more distance between us and the police precinct. So we started walking 2 to 3 blocks down the road, and that's when I saw that glow, that telltale glow of flame that's popping up all over this part of the city tonight, Brian. And when we walked to the rear of the building, we saw, and you can hear that now, the fireworks are going off. Someone has set fire to 2 tractor trailers that were directly behind this Target store that has really been continually looted throughout the day. In fact, just a few minutes ago, as we were walking this way, I witnessed a group of people run out and one man ride out of the building on a motorcycle. And so that's kind of the scene that's playing out right now. I will say that in the past 15 minutes, We have seen some of the crowd start to disperse. More than anything at this point in time, people are just, if they are showing up, they just want to see what's happening here. I mean, it's a very unfortunate sight to behold, but if they do want to cause danger, Brian, this fire is certainly a fresh one. As I look towards where Alley is located, I can still see the glow from where that liquor store fire is continuing to burn. And amidst all of this mess tonight, I have yet to see a police officer in uniform, a police cruiser of any kind, a member of the National Guard. And it's been that way now for at least the past hour and a half or so. I keep waiting to see some sort of perimeter being set up, and that may just not be the case tonight, Brian. You know, I'm going to be honest with you, in the midst of all of this, I think that question has been the first time in the past hour or so that reality has really sunk in. So much for social distancing on a night like this, with people running from police earlier in the day, and now people just congregating, simply watching Minneapolis burn one building after another, Brian. All right, they want to keep that shot.
They're looking for the shot.
Yeah. We're all linked up. So.
Yep. It's fine.
So fast.
Yep, very nice. You're welcome to get in and tell me when I'm...
All right.
Yep.
All right. Nope.
Rest in peace, Minneapolis.
All right. Same spot.
Officially 1. It is TBD if we're going till 2.
Hey, which one of y'all weak throwing ass niggas?
I do not have it. You want to send it? Can you send it to me? Yeah, just tell me. Yep. Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, that would make sense because that's right when we came on air and we were right in front of it. So that makes sense. All right. Good. Let me just ask you something, Sharon. Are they talking about 11 Minneapolis time or 11 Eastern? Because it was 11. If it's 11 Minneapolis time, it's at Eastern. Got it. Okay. $90 seconds. Okay.
They extend the show?
What's that?
They extend the show an hour?
Yeah.
These guys might get to
He's
get
closing up at 12:30, but I think they're going to pick it up again. Yep. I'm going to talk about the police station. Let's.
Stay there!
What's the time? 11:28.
Like there's no walking, there's no driving around here. She's like, tell me the name of the store. There's a, like it's the burnt store.
She's white, I guess, right?
Yeah.
She's white, she's white for the crowd.
Yeah, here.
Being white.
Right.
Here.
Yeah.
Yep.
A little bit.
So are we going at the zoo?
Still 2. How are you doing on batteries?
I think we're fine.
Okay, we're good? All right.
More than 2. I only have one more.
Right.
All right, let me give you a bit of a picture of what's going on. We've got a city block here that is burning. It's on fire. There are 2 places completely engulfed, and then a couple of others. But across the road, that's the police station. That's the 3rd Precinct Police Station, where the 4 police officers who were involved in the death of George Floyd were based. Now, just after 11 o'clock Eastern, police confirmed that they evacuated that building. We were on the air with Brian at that point, and we could see a surge of people into the parking lot. They set something on fire in the back. We weren't quite sure what precipitated that, because they had broken the barriers to the building probably within the hour prior to that, so we weren't quite sure what precipitated it. But the bottom line is the protesters are now in control of that building. They have set it on fire. They are inside the building. The police are gone from there. Now, we had not seen any activity or any police there. There was a lot of police activity last night on this block, but the police had largely left and put barricades around the 3rd Precinct. What ended up happening is there were some police. After they broke the barricades this evening, about 9:15 p.m., what you saw was there were some police who went onto the roof of that building and fired tear gas canisters and noise guns, flashbangs, lights that make a lot of noise and disperse the crowd. The crowd then continually tried to sort of move around. The fire was set over there. There was a fire burning behind us over there, and they set fire to the police station and then this building. The police are now gone. We have heard a lot about the fact that the National Guard is active in Minneapolis, but there are no police here. There are no National Guard. There are no firefighters. A little earlier, a block over there was a fire, and the fire department did show up, but as Morgan Chesky reports, they were not able to actually get to the fire until the crowd dispersed, and at that point, the building was largely destroyed. So it's important to understand the context. There's no authority here. There's no police, no fire, no National Guard at all, and frankly, I think that's a strategic decision because this crowd is worked up. They are full of grievance about George Floyd. You constantly hear the chants, say his name, I can't breathe, his name George Floyd, and I will say that this is a much more dynamic situation than it was even 3 hours ago. Chris?
Hey, does Black Lives Matter to you?
So I will say this: there's a bunch of protests going on in different parts of the city, and people have culminated in this area. So the crowd has become a little bit larger in the last few hours, and it's angry. There is a lot of grievance in this crowd. It's visceral. Every couple of moments, somebody will come around to me and ask me, as you just heard somebody say, do Black Lives matter to you? Are you telling people about the police? So there's a real sense of, there was one video, then there was a second video of the arrest of George Floyd. Now there's been a third video released, and the police were fired very quickly, but no charges have been laid. The Minneapolis Bureau of Apprehensions continues to study this. The Hennepin County Attorney, the FBI is involved. People have called for charges to be laid, but this crowd is wondering, what does it take? Back before there were video, they could understand that. Now they can't. People are calling it a lynching. So there's a lot of anger in this crowd, and I would say it's not dissipating. The crowd in certain parts is thinning out. The anger's not, Chris. Yep.
Kill cops that kill. Don't touch me, man. Hey, Black Lives Matter to y'all?
Okay. Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like it's working.
It's a good question. It's important to note there were some various protests around the city. One of them was in, hang on a second, we're just going to get out of the way of, there's traffic coming down the street now. There were a number of protests today. One was at the Hennepin County building, and that was sort of a more organized, peaceful protest. People took their knee. There was another one at City Hall. It was very heavily occupied. So we're just on the move, Chris, because there's stuff going on here. This one was about the police. Right? This isn't about the Attorney General and about politicians. This one is about the fact that 4 police were there when George Floyd died, and these people want justice. They want that dealt with the police. So what they've done is they've taken the police station. That's symbolic, right? There were no police in it. Ultimately, the police left. There were 5 or 6 police. We don't know how many, and they left. But symbolically, this crowd is angry at the police, and what they are looking for is justice as it relates to the police. Chris, we're just going to reposition. I'm going to come back to you in a few minutes, all right? Yeah. Cool.
Clear?
Yeah.
Listen, the desk just called me. They said that the protesters have cut the lines. The city's tweeting out that the gas lines are cut, and it could blow, so we're going back.
Got it. Okay.
They said they're going to call the control room and cut you.
Got it. Okay.
All right, so we're heading back. Okay. They're cutting back to the car. So the city tweeted out that the protesters cut the gas lines to the precinct. They could come in and... So